Welcome to the Football Show here on PLZ Soccer's YouTube channel. I'm Kerry Pollock. Tam McManus and Paul Hanlon are here with me as the capital gears up for its first derby of the season. Paul, was this always one you looked at in the calendar?
100%. Every year when the fixtures come out, that's when you look for home and away fixtures. Also exciting. The games at Easter Road that I played in, obviously a full crowd, Hibs fans there, but just as exciting as going to Tynecastle. We know that away end's going to be bouncing, so I definitely want to look out for.
Was training a bit more fierce and feisty, Tam, in the lead up to the derbies?
Yeah, I think you always want to play in them when they come so early in the season. I remember playing Hearts when I was at Hibs, first game of the season. And I don't know if you remember it. Didier Agath went round the goalkeeper on his left foot and had an open goal and missed it. And we drew 0-0. But I think that when it comes so early, you just don't want to get beat. You want to just stay in it. And listen, both teams are unbeaten at the minute, so it sets up for a cracking game. Saturday 5:45 kickoff. We're just speaking about it. The fans will be blue up.
Yeah.
The time they get to the stadium. So I think the atmosphere will be amazing. It's always amazing at Tynecastle, but just because of the timing of the game on Saturday night, I think it's going to be mental.
Was there a different feeling, Paul, to playing at Tynecastle or going there in the team bus rather than heading to Easter Road?
Aye, definitely. I think you can. Over the years, it kind of changed up the route. Sometimes it was a bus straight through Gorgie, and you're going through the pubs, and all the pubs are all Hearts. The Hibs fans are more at the Roseburn end, so. Taking the bus through Gorgie, there's a few gestures towards the bus, but it all builds up the excitement of the game. You're obviously desperate to stick up them in the end.
Is the nerve still there as an experienced player, as a young player going into the game? Do you still get that excitement?
Well, I was obviously a younger player when I was at Hibs. Paul's obviously been there as a young player and an older player, but yeah, I think no matter what age you are, you're just nervous. You're nervous about the game because it's the biggest game in the calendar for Hibs. It's a huge game. Tynecastle, always a great atmosphere, as I said. And when you walk out that tunnel and you turn right and you see that full end full of Hibs supporters, and that's what I think we miss in the Old Firm derby now.
Yeah.
Is that support when you look and you see a full stand. It motivates you to not to let them down and try and get a result for them. So yeah, no matter what age you are, there'll be Martin Boyle there obviously who's experienced, and there'll be younger guys there who's never really played in it. Josh Mulligan, Kieran Bowie, who've never played in a derby, but I think they'll all have the same nerves.
First goal, Paul, how crucial is it? Does it settle the nerves when it's your team?
Aye, definitely. I think looking at these two teams as well, I think they're strong when they score first. I think Hibs are. Both teams really, they're both set up to obviously try and attack to start off with, and if they need to, they can drop into, like Hibs for example, into the back five and be harder to beat with a counter-attack threats of Boyley and Bowie up front, and Hearts as well on the tight pitch. Derek McManus teams in general as well, they're always hard working and solid, hard to break down. So I think that is going to be a big factor in the game.
Would you say Hearts are slightly more favourites in this one, Tam? Position in the league?
Yeah, I think so. I think that when you look at Hearts top of the league flying, 5 wins out of 6, and a lot of people are talking about them possibly not even splitting Old Firm, but possibly challenging Celtic. So I think there is slightly more pressure on Hearts. I think they are the favourites with the way the table's looking, but I think form goes out the window in Edinburgh derbies. I've been into Edinburgh derbies flying, and really probably been favourites and get beat, and then at the end of that, getting underdogs and then winning. So I don't think the fact that Hearts are top and Hibs are sitting kind of mid-table at the minute really matters. I think it's on the day who turns up. I don't think there's much between the squads at all, when you look at it from 1 to 11. So I think whoever turns up and plays well on the day will probably win.
Both squads have a lot of players, Paul, who haven't played in derbies before. Is this where you'll look to your experienced players, both managers will, to go, give a little bit of advice?
Yeah, I think so. I think if you look at both squads, there has been big changes, kind of a lot of new players brought into the squads, but both teams have got that nucleus of players that know what a derby is all about, and what winning games in the Scottish League is all about. So I think they both got a good blend, as Tam said. Both squads they've got enough quality coming off the bench to start, flip between different systems. So there's not much. I think if you're sitting in the Hibs dressing room, you're thinking, I wouldn't take many Hearts players, and if you're in the Hearts dressing room, you're thinking the same. At the Hibs team, you're thinking they both feel strong at the minute. So it's just who performs on the day, I think.
Will Hibs go for a slightly different way of playing, Tam, compared to the way they done at Celtic Park? Will they go more attacking this time round?
Yeah, I think so. I think it's a different game going to Celtic, than going to Tynecastle. And I think the fact that Hibs were losing a lot of goals, I always felt that David Gray and the staff were always going to go to Celtic and shut up shop and try and play, not for 0-0, but try and just keep it tight and stay in the game as long as possible. And it worked well. They got the clean sheet, they defended really strongly. I don't think there'll be too many changes from that team. I think if everyone's fit, Paul, you get a great result at Parkhead, I think they'll want to go with a similar lineup. Obviously, Rocky Bashiri was back in France for a personal matter. I don't think he'll come back in. I think they'll keep with the back three that they started at Celtic Park. So, yeah, as I said, I don't think there's going to be much in it, and I don't think, in terms of changes, I don't think Hibs will change much from the weekend, but there will be more attacking going forward.
We've spoke about Kieran Bowie a lot before, his intelligence and how clever he is as such a young player. Paul, how key is he going to be?
Oh, vital. He's vital to the Hibs team anyway. I think when he plays well, Hibs play well. I think at Tynecastle it'll suit him as well. It's tight. He can cause carnage in a back four. Just with his work rate and his appetite to bump into people and make it difficult. So he's a key player. I don't think he's quite been at his best the last few weeks. Between him and Boyle not quite clicking. And I think if you look at the Hibs team as well, probably chopping and changing a wee bit. It was easy to do probably at the start of the season when the European games were on and the boys needed a rest. There was a lot of extra time. But now they're probably not quite getting that all-round performance where Dave can say, like, this is my team. You all deserve to play next week. And if you look at probably the result at Parkhead, good, strong defensive display. So the boys are maybe thinking, well, we've got the jersey now, and that might be the case going into the weekend. But going back to Boyle and Bowie, especially as a partnership, that's a real threat in this league. And I think at Tynecastle they can cause a lot of problem on their day.
Experience in youth, good balance to have, especially in
and they're a good blend. I think obviously Bowie's the one that kind of tries to hold the ball up and is physical, and Boyle can just work off and run into channels, and he's done that superbly in the past. He scored a lot of goals at Tynecastle. He usually turns up for these games, and his pace in behind will cause Hearts' back three problems. So yeah, I think they are a good blend. Bowie, I agree with Paul, he's not quite been at it the last few weeks, but you still get a shift out of him. I think when they took him off at Falkirk last midweek, I thought they really missed that physical presence. Even just holding the ball up, buying fouls, getting up the park. So
he occupies the defence as well.
He does, and he can run in behind. He's got everything about him. So even if he's not having a great game, and I noticed that. I think he played the full game at the weekend there. Set pieces against, for, getting fouls. I think even if he's not scoring goals, he's really important for Hibs.
Will he be one that Derek McManus will tell his defenders, especially, be wary of him because he does, get himself in positions where he can win fouls, that sort of thing?
Yeah, I've spoken about him before on here. Like he's a nuisance because he will buy fouls. He'll go down. You give him a nudge, he'll go down easily. Whereas when you've got the ball, he's steaming into you and he's going all wholehearted. So he's a difficult one to combat. But I'm sure he'll be a key threat in Derek McKessie's team talks. Hearts
then, who are their biggest threats? Who will Hibs have to be aware of?
I think the front three. I think they've been really impressive. I think Kerizidis, the winger from Greece, and Braga. I think they've both got great movement and pace, and that's really helped Lawrence Shankland. Lawrence is not going to run behind, but he's a very clever player. And if he's got legs either side of him, which he has now, I think you're seeing the best of Lawrence Shankland as well. So I think the front three for Hearts are flying at this moment in time, and I think that you've got to try and combat them. The two wing backs obviously tucking in a wee bit, for the wide players, and then looking after Lawrence Shankland as well. So I think the front three for Hearts are going to be a threat for Hibs.
Paul, agree with that, yeah?
Yeah, 100%, and I'll be interested to see how it plays as well. If Hearts play with a two wide and Shankland through the middle, then does that pin Hibs into the back five? And then it can become a bit defensive and more counter-attack, which going at Derby probably not wanting that to be the case for the full game anyway. Might want to settle into the game that way, but then eventually the back three might need to split out and kind of mark in wider areas. So, but I agree with that. The two wide lads for Hearts have been kind of like a breath of fresh air for Hearts. All the fans are loving them. All action, exciting players. So definitely two to watch. And Shankland's obviously his goal record speaks for itself, really. And
you've got Stuart Finlay as well, who's been banging in the goals, not just the forward areas they need to be aware of.
Yeah, listen, I think I've always liked him. I liked him at Kilmarnock, and I think he suits Hearts in that back three, him and Halkett, and I don't know who the other centre back is at the minute who's been playing, but I think those two in particular, know the Scottish League, and he's dangerous at set pieces. He scored a couple up at Tannadice as well in the season. They won 3-2, so I think set pieces, they're always important in games, but I think when you look at Hearts at set plays, they've scored a lot of goals this season, so I think that you've got to be wary of Finlay in particular.
Goalkeeper as well for Hearts, Craig Gordon's training. He is in contention for this weekend. Is that unsurprising to you, Tam, at his age, that he's back in there?
Yeah, I'm not surprised. He's always looked after himself. I remember playing with Craig with Scotland under 21s. It seems like about 40 years ago, to be honest with you, and I can't believe he's still playing. So, listen, I think he's still a top goalkeeper. I think Hearts I've missed him, and you know, if he comes back into the team, then it's going to be difficult. And he's pulled off so many good saves.
No, that's just what I was thinking.
He's pulled off so many worldies. Although I remember Derek Ryland beating him for about 30 yards at Easter Road, and he didn't get near that one. But yeah, he's pulled off a lot of top saves, and I think the Hibs supporters, when you see him in goal, will probably go, here we go again.
Yeah, Hearts haven't won at Tynecastle against Hibs since 2023. Does that shock you at all? Is that an extra incentive for Hearts, Paul, to try and...
It will be. I think if you ask McManus, it'll be the same old concentrating ourselves, put ourselves in a good position and not kind of looking too deep into it. Especially with the amount of new players and new management team, obviously. So it's obviously a nice kind of stat for Hibs. I think Hibs have only lost one in maybe like the last 8 or so. There's been quite a few draws, but Hibs have won their fair share recently, and even at Tynecastle as well. So they'll be going in with no fear.
First one of the season, does it mean that bit more to get off to a flying start against your rivals?
Yeah, I think so. I think it does. I think it's important that you don't lose the first derby. As I said to you, that remember that 0-0 game, and then I think it was the second game of the season. Mark De Vries scored 4 for Hearts, and we got beat 5-1 at Tynecastle. So I've not got a great record early in the season against Hearts.
We're going early now, right? Okay.
Listen, I think that it's really important to, particularly now, with the way both clubs are sitting. Both are unbeaten in the league after 6 games. I know Hibs have had 5 draws, but you know, it's important not to lose a derby. I always went into it wanting desperate to win it, but you don't want to lose it. You know, and that's probably the mindset of both when they're both unbeaten.
It's just if Hibs come out with another draw, it's just a case of right, another draw. We need to turn them into wins. So it'd be interesting to see if it is a draw later in the game, the way the game kind of goes. Do Hibs really push for it and try and get that win, or listen, a point at Tynecastle, the way Hearts are playing at the minute, it's not a bad result, but probably looking at the way Hearts would maybe be more happy with a point, I'd say, with the way Hibs are going at the minute, just no quite turning the draws into wins, so they probably need it a little bit more.
What was your team talks like from managers heading into derbies?
My first ever start for Hibs was at Tynecastle. Alec McLeish would have been the manager, and I think he told me in the morning of the game, thankfully, because if he told me the night before, I wouldn't have slept a wink. But it was the last game of the season, and I think Hearts had to win to get into Europe. I think they beat us 2-1. Gary McSweeney scored a couple, but yeah, just couldn't enjoy it. And I just remember, I don't know what Paul's first derby was like, but I just remember the first 10 minutes, it was like a blur. As soon as I took an extra touch on the ball, was getting smashed. Colin Cameron, Darren Jackson, Gary Naismith. As soon as I took an extra touch, the game was a million mile an hour. It was the quickest game I've ever played in. And I soon clicked that I had to try and move the ball quicker, and I was going to keep getting caught on it. So I think that the guys going into it, even the foreign guys, even the Scottish guys, their first experience of an Edinburgh derby, I think the first 10-15 minutes you'll think to yourself, wow, this is incredible. It's just end to end, it's tackles flying in everywhere, and the game eventually does settle down. You start to play a wee bit after the first 15-20, but advice was just go and do what you're doing and try and play well.
I think a lot of it, I'm exactly the same as Tam there. It's the tactics are done during the week, and that's all covered because you know fine well as soon as that team talk comes before the game, it's not about tactics anymore. It's about who wants it the most, making sure your team understand what the first 10 minutes is going to be like, and I know taking the extra touches, not getting caught, not giving the other team a bit of momentum at the start of the game. So I think that's been the kind of majority of the team talks I've had before derbies has always been, we've covered the tactics, now it's about, are you ready for this, are you ready for that, and so that when it does come, you're well aware of it.
When you go out for the warm-up, is that when the nerves sort of start bubbling away? You feel the atmosphere, particularly at Tynecastle?
Yeah, I think when you're, obviously you get maybe half an hour before the game and it's not quite full, but when you finish your warm-up, you just go over at the Hibs end and give them a wee clap or whatever, and that's probably full at that point. You just think to yourself, you don't want to let all these people down. That's what I was thinking. I was just thinking I need to play well, we need to don't get beat if we win, brilliant. But yeah, you can feel the atmosphere, and then as soon as you walk out the tunnel, obviously my first one was at Tynecastle, the noise that greets you, it's just incredible. And then you look to the far side, you see all the Hibs supporters. So no, it was a brilliant game to play in, great atmosphere, and I don't miss much about football now, but I do miss walking out the Edinburgh derbies, the atmosphere.
You're not a fan of warm-ups, Paul, but did you enjoy those ones?
No. See, for me, my nerves were always before that. I was like, so to see the period between, if you went for a pre-match meal, say in a hotel, I was always nervous and struggling to eat then, on the bus on the way in, and then by the time, if the manager's talking maybe before before you get changed or whatever, if the manager's speaking in, I'm a bit nervous, and as soon as I start getting ready, I felt okay, because I kind of had my job to do. I knew what I was doing. I was kind of getting changed, getting a bit warm up done in the changing room, and then out in the warm up, I was always all right. It was just always that period from probably meeting the lads at a hotel or whatever to then getting to the point where I'm getting ready for the game that I always felt the most nervous.
Is it more of a feeling of going out in the tunnel, you can't go back now? You're going for it now, so...
It's probably a bit, kind of the control takes over. You're now in control of the situation, and you know you can affect it in a positive way. So that's probably why my parents over the years, or the friends and family, are always like, they feel like the whole game obviously so nervous and wanting it to go right. Whereas as soon as the game starts, you're concentrating on your job, and you do have a bit more control over it.
I nearly was out for about 3 years after, because I remember breaking my leg for Hibs, and then we played Hearts at Tynecastle. Frank Sosie was the manager of Hibs, and Johnny Neal scored in the last kick of the ball for one each, and I was in the Hibs end, but I had crutches and a stookie on, and I ended up from up near the back. I was already lost in a couple of injured players to about three rows down the front. No crutch, half my stookie was hanging off.
No
and
pain?
No pain. When Hibs scored the last minute, so I hopefully, as I said, when the goal goes in, at Tynecastle, Hibs support's going mental. It's mental, innit? And it's just scenes and limbs everywhere. But I was 21. That was my career nearly finished. Nearly broke my leg.
Short-lived. Paul, your first derby goal was a late equaliser against Hearts in 2016, which of course kicked off that cup run.
That's an amazing feeling. Obviously being a Hibs fan, scoring at that end so late in the game as well. So, and then obviously what it went on to kept us in the cup. Obviously win the replay and then go on and win it. So just such a special moment in my career. Just the celebrations. It honestly felt like the whole stand was coming down on me. I can still remember the fan like right in front of my face. I could smell every pint I'd had that morning. It was just, but just incredible feeling as a Hibs player and fan to score at that end at Tynecastle. Just amazing.
Can you remember the moment ball coming in, how you felt, how you took it, or is it just a blurred moment?
Nah, I remember what I thought was going to happen, but it didn't quite turn out like that. Obviously the cross came in, I think Big Daz wins the header, keeper saves it, palms it out, and then in my head I'm thinking I'm going to spank this right foot volley into the net, and it turns into a bit of, got away from me a wee bit, turns into a bit of slide tackle, somehow got through the bodies and went in, so they all count, delighted.
Doesn't matter.
Exactly. Wasn't quite what I pictured in my head at the time, but
they all count.
Came off anyway.
We spoke about the later kick-off. Tam, as a player, would you have enjoyed that? Did you play in many later games in your career?
I preferred the later kick-off to an early one.
Oh, really? Right, okay.
I just liked the floodlights. I liked playing at
Under
night
the lights.
time. I don't know what it was, but I played a lot of 12 o'clock kick-offs with Hibs Hearts games, and it just felt weird. Going up having a breakfast instead of a pre-match. A totally different routine, but as I said at the start, 5:45 on a Saturday night, the fans will be in the pubs all day.
Yes.
I just hope they behave themselves on the night, but yeah, I think the atmosphere, that led to it.
Yeah,
I think
absolutely.
Under the floodlights were probably on at that time as well, so I think it adds to the atmosphere.
Paul, were you a fan?
Similar time, I prefer the later. I prefer the night kickoffs than a 12 o'clock, for example. But this 5:45, I'm not sure. It's just an awkward kind of time. It's great for our fans, get some extra couple of hours in the pub and kind of build the nerves and excitement even more. But as a player, it's kind of that middle ground where you're not really sure how to prepare in the morning. What do you have, breakfast, lunch, and a pre-match meal? What do you eat? It's a bit awkward. A lot of players kind of that creature of habit where they know what to do with the certain kick-off times. That one's a bit awkward. But no, I'm sure both teams will be prepared. They'll know exactly. They've got all sports scientists, nutritionists, that'll have all that planned out for them. So they'll be more than ready.
That's it. Have you been in touch with any of the guys that are getting ready for this weekend?
A couple actually. I spoke to Chris Cadden the other day and Jordan Obita the other night actually. So you can tell the excitement's there. You can just. It's always been the same. It feels different. As soon as the week starts, it's Derby week. It feels different, and that excitement's there. And both teams, rightly so, I'll feel like they're going to go into the game and win it. So hopefully that results in a good game of football.
We are very Hibs heavy on the couch today. Can we get predictions?
Yeah, I'm going to go for 2-1 to Hibs.
2-1 Hibs. Paul?
2-0 Hibs.
2-0 Hibs, right, okay, then we'll have done a derby quiz for you both. We've not done a quiz in a long time, Tam. We know how much you love them. Okay, rules are, Paul, fastest answer.
All right, okay.
Right.
Right.
That's the answer. Don't jump in too early, as we're known to be doing. Right. Who opened the scoring for Hibs the last time the two sides met? 2-1 win for Hibs.
Martin Boyle.
Correct. Well done.
I had that one.
Hearts League top goal scorer is?
Shankland.
Oh, that was one each.
I'll give
Same
him
time. Very tame. Normally, Ruffy, you're biting his head off.
a
Sure.
little bit.
You've been nice today. Right, 2-1 Tam. How to the closest answer wins. Right. How many times have both sides met competitively since the first meeting in 1875? Closest answer.
90.
130.
341. 90. Right?
I played in 40.
Right, okay. Question 4. Who was Hearts manager the last time Hearts won at Tynecastle? It was in 2023. There's a clue.
Uh,
Do the maths here.
trying to think who the Hearts manager was.
January 2023. If that makes it easier.
Don't know.
Don't know. Paul, can you hazard a guess?
Robbie Nielsen.
Oh, Robbie Nielsen. Well done. 2 each, isn't it?
Hearts manager there.
Right, okay, that's for the win, both
Right.
of you, right? How many derbies out of the 10 he has played in has David Gray won?
5.
Paul?
4.
3. 1-3, so that's a draw. Normally you're biting.
Closest answer, I thought.
Closest answer, we'll go give Paul the win there.
I'll give it.
Well, we have another exciting derby this weekend, 5:45 at Tynecastle Park. We'll be there keeping you updated across all of our social media channels. So be sure to hit the like button and subscribe to PLZ Soccer's YouTube channel. On behalf of myself, Paul and Tam, thanks for listening, thanks for watching.
To the PLZ Soccer Shop. 20 football legends, one incredible collection, canvas, prints, t-shirts. Pele, Maradona, Cruyff, Messi, Ronaldo. Wear them, frame them, celebrate them. From the pitch to your wall, they're yours. The Legends Collection, only at the PLZ Soccer Shop. Click the link and get yours now.